The Handbook of Communication Skills, 2019, is one of the core texts in the field of communication, offering an overview of the research literature in different applied area of communication, ranging from assertive communication. We are here with a new book summary for the Listen Book Summaries YouTube channel. Today's book is about the author, various authors for different chapters, each focusing on their area of expertise. The main editor is Owen Hargie, Emeritus Professor of Communication at Ulster University, and a leading expert in interpersonal and organizational communication. He has published extensively on communication theory and practice. Remember that no book summary is as effective as reading the original. Today, we are going to give you the chance to have a pre-tasting of the book. I hope it will be an enjoyable experience. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and turn on notifications. What are social skills and why do they matter? Social skills involve a process in which the individual implements a set of goal-directed, interrelated, situationally appropriate social behaviors, which are learned and controlled. Hargie, 2019, p. 15. They're the foundation of effective communication, enabling you to navigate relationships, workplaces, and social settings with competence. Practical takeaways. Set clear goals. Before engaging in a conversation, know your purpose, e.g., building rapport, solving a problem. Adapt to context. Behave in ways that suit the situation, formal in a job interview, casual with friends. Practice control. Stay calm and intentional, even in heated moments, to maintain effective communication. Qualities of communication competence. A comprehensive review by Wilson and Sabi, 2003, concluded that communication competence hinges on three qualities: knowledge, motivation, and skill. Hargie, 2019, p. 16. These work together to ensure your interactions are perceived as effective and appropriate. Practical takeaways. Build knowledge. Understand the context, audience, and possible responses before speaking, e.g., know cultural norms in diverse settings. Stay motivated. Cultivate a genuine desire to connect and communicate well. It drives better outcomes. Hone skills. Practice specific behaviors like active listening or clear articulation to boost your competence. Stages of learning new communication skills. Learning communication skills follows 4 sequential stages. Hargie, 2019, p. 19. 1. Unconscious incompetence. 2. Conscious incompetence. 3. Conscious competence. 4. Unconscious competence. This progression helps you move from unaware mistakes to effortless mastery. Practical takeaways. Embrace awareness. Recognize when you're not communicating well, e.g., interrupting others to start improving. Be patient. Early skill practice feels awkward. Keep at it until it becomes second nature. Seek feedback. Ask trusted peers to point out areas for growth and track your progress. Context is king. Situationally appropriate behavior. For behavior to be socially skilled, it must be contextually appropriate, since behaviors that are apposite when displayed in one situation may be unacceptable if applied in another. Hargie, 2019, p. 22. What works in one setting, e.g., joking with friends, may flop in another, e.g., a boardroom. Practical takeaways. Read the room. Observe the setting and adjust your tone, body language, and words accordingly. Test and learn. If unsure, start neutral and adapt based on others' reactions. Avoid one-size-fits-all. Tailor your approach to each unique interaction for maximum impact. Learn social calibration. Understanding cultural influences. A widely researched distinction is that between collectivist and individualistic cultures. Hager, Rensselaers, and Koch, 2014. Eastern cultures, e.g., Japan, China, tend to be collectivist and high context, favoring indirect, relationship-focused communication, while Western cultures, e.g., USA, UK, are low context, prioritizing open, direct communication with explicit meaning. Hargie, 2019, p. 67. However, individual differences matter just as much. Fundmeer, Grotman, Frey et al., 2015. Ivy and Zalaket, 2014. Hargie, 2019, p. 68. Individuals matter more than cultures. That being said, always look at the individual first. However, it has also been found that there are individual as well as cultural differences in individualism and collectivism. Fundmeer, Grotman, Frey et al., 2015. Individuals differ as much as or more than cultures, and so it is the nature of the interlocutor that is important rather than the cultural background from which he or she comes. Ivy and Zalaket, 2014. Furthermore, at different times in varying situations, and with different people, we may adopt either a more individualistic or a more collectivist style. Practical takeaways. Respect cultural norms. Use indirect requests. Could we close the window? In high-context cultures to avoid offense. Kim and Wilson, 1994. Hargie, 2019, p. 68. Focus on the individual. Don't assume cultural stereotypes. Pay attention to the person's unique style. Be flexible. Shift between direct and indirect styles depending on the situation and person. Mastering nonverbal communication. Nonverbal behavior, kinesics, body language, paralanguage, vocal patterns, touch, proxemic spacing, and more carries significant weight in communication. Knapp, 1972. Hargie, 2019, p. 88. It conveys emotion, status, and intent, often more powerfully than words. Mehrabian, 1972, organizes nonverbal cues into 3 dimensions: positiveness, liking; potency, status; and responsiveness, activity. Hargie, 2019, p. 95. Practical takeaways. Use immediacy cues. Lean forward, maintain eye contact, and smile to show engagement and likability. Mehrabian, 1972. Hargie, 2019, p. 95. Signal status thoughtfully. Relaxed posture, e.g., open arms, can convey confidence without arrogance. Mehrabian, 1972. Hargie, 2019, p. 95. Watch for health indicators. Notice signs like furrowed brows, pain, or forced smiles, irritability, to gauge others' emotions. Ekman and Friesen, 1975. McClintock and Hunt, 1975. Hargie, 2019, p. 111. Detecting deception and its limits. Nonverbal cues like fidgeting, speech errors, or less eye contact are often linked to deception. Mehrabian, 1971. DePaulo, Zuckerman, and Rosenthal, 1980. Hargie, 2019, p. 112. However, a meta-analysis by DePaulo et al., 2003, found most deception cues are weakly related to deceit, and many people misinterpret them. Hargie, 2019, p. 112. Skilled deceivers can even appear less anxious. Schneider et al., 2015. Hargie, 2019, p. 489. Direct deception indicators. Speech errors deviating from a person's normal baseline. Mehrabian, 1971. Changes in tone of voice. DePaulo, Zuckerman, and Rosenthal, 1980. Fidgeting with objects. Reduced eye contact compared to baseline behavior. Coordinated body movements. Patterns of rocking, head shaking, and nodding together. Druckmann et al., 1982. Reduction in hand movements among skilled deceivers and those high in public self-consciousness. Vridge, Akehurst, and Morris, 1997. Increased pauses during speech. Annally and Cicery, 1997. Indirect deception, evasion indicators. Increased leg movements during silent moments, often linked to low assertiveness. Frequent gaze aversion, especially during stress. Frequent head shaking in early parts of the interaction. Progressive increase in self-fidgeting as the interaction continues. Druckmann et al., 1982. McClintock and Hunt, 1975. Practical takeaways. Focus on content. Pay more attention to what someone says than their body language when assessing truthfulness. Vridge, 2008. Hargie, 2019, p. 102. Look for inconsistencies. Repetitious answers or vague details may hint at deception, but don't rush to judge. DePaulo et al., 2003. Hargie, 2019, p. 489. Train your skepticism. Avoid over-relying on stereotypes, e.g., gaze aversion equals lying, and seek evidence. Begard et al., 2016. Hargie, 2019, p. 102. Don't look for cues of deceit cause you'll likely be wrong. However, findings from decoding accuracy studies suggest that either such a set of reliable cues simply does not exist, or, alternatively, that the majority of individuals have little knowledge on how to use such a set of cues for diagnostic purposes. A review of findings appears in a meta-analytic assessment conducted by DePaulo et al., based on 120 independent samples. Although the review reveals consistencies with some of the indicators listed above, e.g., liars tend to talk less, provide fewer details, and tend to be perceived as more tense as a function of perceived vocal tension and FD gating, the majority of deception cues were found to be unrelated or only weakly related to deceit. The power of questioning. Questions do more than gather information. They control conversations, build rapport, and assert authority. In a sample of spontaneous conversations, Stivers, 2010, found only 43% of questions had the primary purpose of seeking information. The other 57% were used for conversational management. Hargie, 2019, p. 140. Hargie, 2017, lists purposes like initiating interaction, maintaining control, or arousing curiosity. Hargie, 2019, p. 139. Practical takeaways. Use questions strategically. Ask specific questions to steer discussions or open-ended ones to encourage participation. Morgan and Saxton, 2006. Solemn, 2016. Hargie, 2019, p. 140. Balance power. In group settings, direct questions to quieter members to ensure everyone's involved. Hargie, 2017. Hargie, 2019, p. 140. Frame carefully. Avoid face-threatening questions, e.g., aggressive challenges, to maintain positive relationships. Holmes, 1995. Steensig and Drew, 2008. Hargie, 2019, p. 140. Questions and power dynamics. Questions are tools of influence, shaping topics, participation, and authority. Bolden, 2009. Hargie, 2019, p. 145. They can be coercive or empowering depending on their use. Heritage, 2010, notes that questions set agendas, embody presuppositions, convey authority, and prefer certain responses. Hargie, 2019, p. 146. In formal settings, higher status individuals have greater questioning rights. Drew and Heritage, 1992. Wang, 2006. Wilson, 2015. Hargie, 2019, p. 147. Practical takeaways. Set the agenda. Use questions to guide conversations toward your goals without seeming domineering. Heritage, 2010. Hargie, 2019, p. 146. Respect status. In formal settings, lower status individuals, e.g., patients, often soften questions to avoid seeming rude. Mirror this tactfully. Skelton and Hobbs, 1999. Tracy, 2002. Hargie, 2019, p. 148. Avoid face threats. Phrase questions to protect others' self-image, like asking, "Could you share your thoughts?" instead of, "Why didn't you do this?" Brown and Levinson, 1987. Tracy, 2002. Wang, 2006. Hargie, 2019, p. 147. Power protection and respect with questions. Interestingly, even when Q&A turns obligations are not formally pre-allocated, participants show an understanding that questioning rights are linked to institutional status and shape their communication accordingly. For example, Skelton and Hobbs, 1999, found that patients often prefaced their questions to doctors with phrases such as, "I was wondering," while doctors never did so. These phrases constitute politeness markers, which attend to the status differentials and potentially face-threatening act of asking a question of a higher status individual. Tracy, 2002. Reinforcement, shaping behavior. Reinforcement, rooted in behavioral psychology, uses rewards to encourage desired communication behaviors. Hargie, 1986, 1997, 2006, 2017. Hargie et al., 1994. Hargie, 2019, p. 163. Social reinforcers like verbal praise, nods, or smiles are especially powerful. Hargie, 2019, p. 169. Positive reinforcements yield better results than negative ones, like threats. Irwin, Mulder, and Simpson, 2014. Mulder, Van Dijk, de Kremer, and Wilk, 2006. Hargie, 2019, p. 393. Practical takeaways. Offer positive feedback, praise specific actions, great point, to reinforce good communication. Use nonverbal cues. Nod or smile to show approval during conversations, encouraging others to continue. Avoid over-rewarding. Excessive praise can seem manipulative. Keep it genuine and balanced. Witt and Wilk, 1990. Hargie, 2019, p. 393. Self-disclosure, building intimacy. Self-disclosure, sharing personal information, drives closeness in relationships and is a defining characteristic of close bonds. Brame et al., 2002. Hargie, 2019, p. 218. It's risky but essential for trust, with reciprocity being key. Durlega and Berg, 1987. Sprecher and Treasure, 2015. Hargie, 2019, p. 219. Disclosure introduces risk, potentially leading to acceptance or rejection. Sedlovskaya et al., 2013. Hargie, 2019, p. 220. Practical takeaways. Start small. Share superficial details early in relationships, saving deeper disclosures for trusted bonds. Meal and Duck, 1986. Hargie, 2019, p. 219. Reciprocate thoughtfully. Match others' disclosure levels to build rapport without oversharing. Sprecher and Treasure, 2015. Hargie, 2019, p. 219. Disclose emotions in romantic relationships. Mutual disclosure of emotion, rather than facts and information, predicts romantic partners. Reported experience of intimacy. Beach and Tesser, 1988. Lorenzo et al., 1998. Manage risks. Be cautious with sensitive info, e.g. financial struggles, until trust is established. Lieber, 2010. Hargie, 2019, p. 218. And pro tip to gather intel. Using self-disclosure to gain information is more effective than requests for disclosures due to our tendency to reciprocate. Relationship maintenance through disclosure. Self-disclosure sustains relationships, boosting satisfaction and shared meaning. Vangelisti and Bansky, 1993. Hargie, 2019, p. 221. Regular catching up during absences keeps bonds strong. Sigmund, 1991. Gilbertson et al., Dindia and Allen, 1998. Hargie, 2019, p. 221. Moderate disclosure levels are most conducive to satisfaction. Bochner, 1982. Gilbert, 1976. Lippert and Prager, 2001. Parks, 1995. Hargie, 2019, p. 223. Practical takeaways. Debrief daily. Share daily experiences with partners or friends to maintain connection. Vangelisti and Bansky, 1993. Hargie, 2019, p. 221. Create shared meaning. Discuss values and experiences to build a collective identity with loved ones. Harvey and Amarzu, 1997. Terzino and Cross, 2009. Walters and Berger, 2013. Hargie, 2019, p. 222. Balance sharing, moderate disclosure, neither too much nor too little keeps relationships healthy. Bochner, 1982. Hargie, 2019, p. 223. Seeking support if needed. Sharing information for the purposes of seeking support or expressing emotions made friends feel more important and more mutually included in each other's life. Lee, 2006, p. 13. Group dynamics, conformity and influence. In groups, majority opinions often pressure conformity, but minorities can spark innovation if they're consistent and persuasive. Ash, 1951. Schachter, 1951. Nemeth and Kwan, 1987. Hargie, 2019 pp. 380-1383. Normative pressures, seeking social approval, and informational pressures, seeking accuracy, shape behavior. De Vries, De Drew, Gordian, and Schumann, 1996. Gordian, De Vries, and De Drew, 2002. Hargie, 2019, p. 384. Techniques like the nominal group technique (NGT). Reduce dysfunctional conformity. Hargie, 2019, p. 386. Practical takeaways. Resist blind conformity. Stand firm on well-founded beliefs, especially in private settings, to avoid groupthink. Ash, 1951. Hargie, 2019, p. 382. Leverage minority influence. Present consistent, persuasive arguments to sway groups toward new ideas. Nemeth and Kwan, 1987. Hargie, 2019, p. 385. Encourage openness. Use techniques like NGT or appoint a devil's advocate to ensure all voices are heard. Herbert and Estes, 1977. Hargie, 2019, p. 387. Group contribution and dealing with free riders. Even under normative pressure, cooperation in task groups can break down, especially if one bad apple triggers reciprocity-based non-cooperation from others. Care, 1983. Challenges worsen in larger groups, where individual contributions are harder to identify, evaluate, or link to responsibility. Group identity can promote cooperation, but subgroup boundaries, e.g., student versus staff, may undercut it if members prioritize subgroup interests over collective goals. Kramer and Brewer, 1984. Wit and Care, 2002. To counteract these challenges, persuasion should be paired with additional measures. 1. Increase norm salience and monitoring. Cooperation improves when norms are salient and contributions are identifiable. Public accountability and visibility reduce free riding and social loafing. Harkins and Jackson, 1985. Harkins, 2006. 2. Use social reinforcements. Praise, encouragement, and visible appreciation promote cooperation more effectively than threats or punishments, which may reduce internal motivation. Irwin et al., 2014. Mulder et al., 2006. Van Lange et al., 2014-2017. But even positive rewards can backfire if seen as manipulative. Witt and Wilk, 1990. 3. Leverage influential communicators or leadership when softer strategies fail. Group members may support persuasive interventions from respected communicators, Clandermans, 1992, or even delegate authority to a leader to ensure cooperation. De Kremer and Van Nippenberg, 2003. Van Vugt and De Kremer, 2002. 4. Remove free riders when motivation losses are more or less subconscious. The decrease of individual contributions to the group is termed social loaf. When group members deliberately let others do the work, we speak of free riding. Care, 1983. A very likely reaction in response to the assumed presence of free riders in the group is to reduce one's own efforts too, rather than to take the risk of being exploited, being the sucker. Persuasion. Persuades have 4 main avenues to convince others. 1. Remove barriers. Persuaders can increase self-efficacy by eliminating obstacles to action. If the barrier is informational, they provide necessary details, e.g., how to adjust a water heater temperature, Cardenas and Simons Morton, 1993. Instructions for DIY medical tests. Fufel et al., 2010. If the barrier is substantive, they might offer practical help, e.g., free transport for low-income patients. Marcus et al., 1992. Immediate opportunities and convenient access also facilitate compliance, e.g., organ donor registration. Sharp et al., 2017. Eye protection provision. Dingus et al., 1991. To create practice opportunities. Allowing people to rehearse or practice the target behavior can build self-efficacy, e.g., role-playing safer sex discussions. Carlson et al., 2010. Nor et al., 2006. Iser et al., 1998. Also Duncan et al., 2000. Latimer and Genies, 2005. Luzzo et al., 1999. 3. Use modeling. Showing others successfully performing the behavior helps observers believe they can do it too, e.g., teaching techniques for classroom management. Hagen et al., 1998. Breast self-exam modeling. Anderson, 2000. Also Gaston et al., 2012. Mahler et al., 1993. Ng et al., 1999. 4. Provide encouragement. Verbal persuasion and expressions of confidence can boost perceived ability, e.g., telling someone they can stop a friend from drunk driving. Anderson, 1995-2009. Inducing feelings of hypocrisy, guilt. This strategy works by making people aware of both their positive attitudes and their past inconsistent behaviors. When both are made salient, people often change their behavior to align with their attitudes. For instance, in a study on home energy conservation, participants who received both feedback on their actual energy use and a reminder of their conservation attitudes conserved more energy afterward than those who received feedback alone. Cantola et al., 1984. See also Aitken et al., 1994. However, this approach can easily backfire, so go easy on guilt. For instance, persons made to feel hypocritical about a parent attitude. Behavior inconsistency might resolve that inconsistency not by changing their behavior so as to align it with their attitudes, but by changing their attitudes so as to justify, be consistent with, their previous behavior. Fried, 1998. Especially when people overdo it and annoy others. And several studies have found that although more explicit guilt appeals do arouse greater guilt than less explicit appeals, those more explicit appeals are significantly less persuasive than less explicit appeals, perhaps because the strategy generates anger or resentment, e.g., Cott, Coulter, and Moore, 2005. Similarly, see Besrabova, Turner, Fink, and Blustein, 2015. For reviews and discussion, see O'Keefe, 2000-2002. Negotiation, resolving conflicts. Negotiation resolves conflicts of interest through communication. Greenhalgh and Lewicki, 2015. Hargie, 2019, p. 399. Collectivism aligns with indirect communication, while individualism favors direct approaches. Ting Toomey, 1988. Hargie, 2019, p. 412. Individual traits matter more than cultural stereotypes. Hargie, 2019, p. 413. Negotiation theories. Structural theories. These theories focus on power distribution in negotiations, assuming that the party with the most power controls the outcome. While this theory is useful, it doesn't always match real-world outcomes, as power dynamics are more complex. Strategic theories. Strategic theories view negotiation as a tactical process involving moves and countermoves. Each party works to position themselves for cooperation rather than conflict. Walton and McCurseys, 1965. Model of social negotiations is a key example, outlining 4 systems. Distributive bargaining. Competitive, zero-sum where one party wins at the other's expense. Integrative bargaining. Collaborative, aiming for mutual gains. Attitudinal structuring. Focusing on relationships like trust between parties. Intraorganizational bargaining. internal agreements within groups to ensure unity during negotiations. Critics argue that attitudinal structuring is not a separate system, but a tactic used in collaboration, and intra-organizational bargaining should not be viewed as distinct. Anthony, 1977. Trust plays a critical role in shifting between distributive and integrative strategies. Process theories. These theories focus on the convergence of positions through concessions over time. There are two main types of communication models. Stage models, sequence of distinct stages in negotiation, each with specific activities. Episodic models, divides the negotiation into episodes, each with a different type of activity. Situational models, these models are tailored for specific contexts like hostage or intercultural negotiations. For instance, the aftermath of the Munich massacre in 1972 led to the development of specialized hostage negotiation teams. Models like Hammer and Rogan's SAFE model and Taylor's cylindrical model focus on techniques for dealing with high-stakes situations, particularly in crisis contexts. Soskis and Van Zandt, 1986. Grubb, 2010. Practical takeaways. Prepare thoroughly. Know your goals and the other party's needs before negotiating. Adapt to styles. Use indirect communication with collectivist individuals, direct with individualists. Ting Toomey, 1988. Hargie, 2019, p. 412. Focus on the person. Avoid cultural stereotypes. Tailor your approach to the individual's behavior. Hargie, 2019, p. 413. Assertiveness. Assertion typically has been conceptualized as the midpoint on the continuum between non-assertion and aggression, though recent data suggest it incorporates elements of aggressive and submissive behavior as well. Dirks, Sewer, Rush, and Frazier, 2014. Dirks, Treat, and Wiersing, 2011. Wilson and Galwa, 1993. However, many fail to differentiate between socially acceptable assertive behavior and inappropriate aggressive behavior. Hargie, 2017. Laypersons label conflict assertion as aggression, describe assertion as pushy, rude, and insensitive. Rocco's, 1991. And see high levels of assertiveness as a weakness of leaders rather than as a strength. Ames and Flynn, 2007. Mindsets are key. A negative internal dialogue, e.g., "I will be embarrassed if I speak up," undermines assertive social behavior, while positive self-statements, e.g., "My opinions are valuable," support it. Meichenbaum et al., 1981. Assertive individuals tend to use twice as many positive self-statements as negative ones, unlike non-assertive individuals who use both equally. Rocco's, 1991. Training people in positive self-instruction alone can significantly increase assertiveness. Craighead, 1979. Negative self-talk often reflects fear of rejection and a relational or feminine focus. Wine, 1981. Wilson and Galwa, 1993. Rather than labeling such dialogue negative, it may be more constructive to view it through the lens of autonomy versus affiliation, where effective assertiveness draws more on autonomous self-statements. Takeaways. Assertion makes you less likable but more effective. A convict assertion that only expresses a right has been termed a standard assertion, and consistently is judged to be equally potent to and somewhat more desirable than conventional aggressive behavior, and less likable but more socially competent than non-assertive behavior. Calibrate its use. Even though assertion now embodies a positive social value across many different cultures around the world, the use of these skills will not be the preferred option in every situation. Cognitive interview, enhancing recall. The cognitive interview (CI) uses memory retrieval techniques to improve eyewitness reports, increasing valid information by over 40%. Memon, Meissner, and Fraser, 2010. Hargie, 2019, p. 511. The enhanced CI-ECI adds rapport-building, focused retrieval, and interviewee-compatible questioning. Geiselman and Fisher, 1997. Hargie, 2019, p. 515. Practical takeaways. Build rapport. Start interviews with casual chat to put others at ease and encourage openness. Geiselman and Fisher, 1997. Hargie, 2019, p. 515. Reinstate context. Ask people to mentally recreate the setting of an event to boost recall. Flexer and Tulving, 1978. Tulving and Thompson, 1973. Hargie, 2019, p. 513. Follow their lead. Time questions based on the interviewee's recall pattern, not a rigid script. Geiselman and Fisher, 1997. Hargie, 2019, p. 515. Employment interviews, making an impression. Structured interviews reduce bias and predict job performance better. Dipboy et al., 2012. Chapman and Zweig, 2005. Hargie, 2019, p. 479. First impressions matter, but most decisions happen later. Frieder et al., 2016. Hargie, 2019, p. 482. Personality traits like conscientiousness and powerful speech styles boost success. Sackett and Walmsley, 2014. Parton et al., 2002. Hargie, 2019, pp. 493-495. And speak with power. In terms of speech styles, powerful versus powerless speech was examined by Parton et al., 2002. Professional and undergraduate respondents evaluated interviewees' dynamism, social attractiveness, superiority, control over self, control over others, and employability. Evidence suggested that those with a powerful speech style were rated more favorably, competent, and employable, particularly by professionals. Practical takeaways. Prepare for structure. Expect consistent, job-relevant questions in modern interviews. Practice clear, concise answers. Dipboy et al., 2012. Hargie, 2019, p. 479. Project confidence. Use powerful speech. Avoid hesitations. Be direct to appear competent. Parton et al., 2002. Hargie, 2019, p. 495. Show personality. Highlight traits like agreeableness and drive, which employers value highly. Sackett and Walmsley, 2014. Hargie, 2019, p. 493. More wisdom. Relationships evolve in phases. Dialectical theories argue that relationships evolve through turning points, or remembered meaningful events that increase or decrease partners, intimacy, and mark relationship changes, e.g. having sex for the first time, having a serious argument. Stafford et al., 2006. However, it's not all about power, and couples can grow in interconnectedness. Partners may even adopt a relational identity, viewing themselves as a collective unit rather than as individuals, as they become increasingly committed to each other. McIntyre et al., 2015, p. 858. Calibration is the mother of communication skills. If there is one skill that is most fundamental to persuasive success, it is message adaptation, adapting or tailoring one's persuasive efforts to the particular situation faced, the particular audience to be influenced. Cons. Less practical for people looking for a communication manual. And it's more of a note than a con. There are also plenty of examples and even useful mock dialogues in the cognitive behavioral therapy chapter. It's just it's not meant to be a practical manual for learners. I wished for more interpersonal communication and effective communication. For example, what makes people enjoy talking to someone, or feel bonded to someone, or dislike someone, or what provides loses status. But this is a personal note from someone looking to turn as much research as possible into practical strategies and techniques. That said, I could still find something along those lines in chapters such as the ones on questions, self-disclosure, interviews, and more. Review. The Handbook of Communication Skills provides an evidence-based overview of the research literature on communication. While it's less hands-on than our typical articles, it helped us refine, source, or confirm several approaches in our articles, and I'm very grateful for that.